Welcome to Cave 623 Studios with Ty and Kara Barlow. We are here today to talk about energy. So I found a few quotes from Pinterest that I want to just start off with. One says, "There are those whose light is so brilliant that they invite us to become brighter by being close to them." And then one I really love is, "Don't adapt to the energy of the room, influence it."
Yeah, I like those. It's really, there was something my sister said one time, and she was meeting with a few clients, and as she was meeting with them, she was able to kind of help them on their journeys, and one thing she talked about is, and she's kind of big on energy too, and she talked about our energy is kind of like a car battery, and the people that we allow around us or with us can either add to that battery and help it charge and help it feel very energized, or can drain the battery to the point where you might not get the car started, And
Right.
So I agree. I mean, energy's a big topic. I believe it's probably one of the most important topics we could discuss for sure.
Yeah.
So.
And one thing I saw too that I really loved that I wrote down that goes along with that is I put it under self-care, and it's just a simple truth that you can remember every day. And it goes like this: if it drains you, it's not for you. Plain and simple.
Right. Right. And sometimes it takes us a bit to learn that. I know I had to learn that in my life where, I had certain things that might be bothering me or wondering why things might be feeling more on the negative side, of a situation or whatnot. And so it's nice that we have these lessons in life to teach us about energy. But we also got to be aware enough to notice the energy and be brave enough sometimes to change circumstances, to get to where we are around people that will charge our batteries, that will help us feel positive energy and let go of those people that drain us and use us or take advantage of us, So energy is worth it. And we only have so much to spend in a day, and we get to decide how we spend it. And it reminds me a little bit of, when I was first learning in school about the cognitive triangle, just the simple cognitive behavioral therapy, concept of, positive and negative thinking lead to either positive or negative emotions, which then lead to positive or negative actions, which then lead to positive or negative outcomes. And so, as you're thinking of the simplicity of that, how important is our thinking, And that's something I had to learn multiple times over again, still learning that on this journey of how to keep thinking positive or keep my own energy in my mind, in my thought process, positive.
Right. Our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings dictate our actions, and our actions create our reality.
Right.
And it starts with what's happening in our minds and what kind of storm of emotions we're brewing in there. Are we generating light, or are we brewing storms, right? And that leads to the reality you're going to face every day. Right.
Yeah. And, so it just, there was a story once. I mean, this story, dates me a little bit, but I remember being back in I was probably graduating from high school, I believe, at the time. And you have a lot of like different acquaintances and friends as you're kind of going into graduation or graduating from high school. I just remember, you kind of knew in your groups, I did anyway, the friends that would just bring you joy naturally, and then those friends or acquaintances that you were just like, oh, maybe I should avoid talking to them today, because you just knew it would happen. And so, and I only bring that up because I know all of you have similar experiences where, you've grown up with either, friends or acquaintances that have either brought you extreme joy and happiness. You can't wait to be around them. And then you've also been around those negative Nellies and those ones that just kind of drain your battery or always have something negative to talk about. And it's just so nice and refreshing to be around the positive people and the ones that you just kind of share natural joy with. And sometimes when you're around good energy people, you don't even necessarily need to be talking about anything. You can exist with them and just enjoy their presence and their energy. And so that's something that, when we started thinking about this topic of energy, it's such a vital thing that's coursing through us every day. And
it's our vitality.
It really is. It really is. I'd say too, sometimes you don't know how, certain situations are going to play out until they do, right? So the learning experience is part of our life. Our life's journey, I think, is learning from situation to situation, people to people, what we want for our lives, what we want for our futures. And I know I do want positive energy, and I think all of us do. I don't know that there's anybody out there that's like, oh man, I can't wait to have a negative energy day to day. I don't think we wake up that way, right? But for some reason, sometimes we are surrounded by either situations or people that just bring us that feeling, of either dread or make us feel like, man, I just don't want to go to work today because I'm going to have to deal with this person or that person, But I absolutely love when I can, go to work and be like excited for work, excited for maybe the employees that I'm around, or when I get to come home from my work and enter my home setting here and experience the energy that's here. I crave it. I can't wait to come home and just be around Kara. She's got a very beautiful, calming energy, and so that's just something I love to be around, and crave to get back home to, But that's kind of why I ended up getting into the career I'm in now, is that I used to have, highly negative people that I worked around in the construction trade, just grumpy people that hated their jobs, and they didn't want to show up, and, you were just kind of constantly fighting that kind of energy all day long. And so I'd still find joy in my work and in what I was doing, but I think when you're around it a lot, it's just really tough to be around people like that, And so I was happy when I decided to go back to school, get myself into a whole different career, and man, am I grateful now. I feel like I can go to work and feel very energized. I feel good. I feel happy to get to work, and then, with your home life, I don't know any of you out there that are, have a perfect home life. I don't think everybody has like the perfect picture home life all the time, but your home life should at least have some remnants of positive energy, And so I hope for all of you out there that if your home life is feeling like negative energy or that it's not what you want it to be, it's a good challenge to make for yourself to say, what can I do about this? What changes can I make, together with my partner to create better energy? Or if it's a partner that is just constantly always putting you down or making you feel less than, it might be time, to say, what, I don't deserve this kind of treatment. And if they won't change, then there is times where you got to kind of let someone go, no matter how close you are to them,
Right.
So, just a thought.
Enabling the negative energy around you keeps you chained down, right? When you continue to allow it and not do anything and choose not to do anything about it, you're just putting chains around yourself. So, I want you guys to think really about yourselves here. We talked a lot about outside energy, but the real flex is understanding the energy in your own vessel and the energy you create in your own mind, regardless of the people around you, regardless of the circumstance. It's up to you to be that light. You don't adapt to the energy around you, you influence it. What was that other one? There are those whose light is so brilliant that they invite us to become brighter by being close to them. Do you want to be a person who is dark and moody and negative that others will gravitate to and create more dark, negative moodiness? Or do you want to create within yourself light and peace and spread that light to others? And the real flex is to be able to keep your peace when outside forces try to disturb it. That is a real challenge, right? And, we all are going to get triggered. We're all going to face frustrating circumstances. We're all going to have people around us at work, in our families, right, from time to time or consistently, that bring us down. And Ty is exactly right. You have to get to the point where you love yourself enough to say, that energy is not for me. I'm not going to accept that kind of energy in my workplace. I'm not going to accept that kind of energy in my home. You don't get to treat me like that and bring me down all the time. And create your own safe haven within yourself and start taking little steps to expand that safe haven, that sphere of energy around you, so that you create a safe haven within yourself, safe haven within your room, safe haven within your whole house, right? Safe haven everywhere you go. You get to decide that. You have control of that. It does take practice. Takes awareness, but you are the temple of which you can create that sanctity, and you can build it in your home. You can have it in every aspect of your life, and that's what we want you guys to realize and understand and empower you to do. Is when those dark thoughts come that trigger our feelings, that start creating a whirlwind, a dark storm of rumination and broken records of thought that just put us in a bad mood and keep us in our unhealthy habits for coping. We have to recognize that, and find that strength within ourselves to say, I don't like feeling this way. And I can influence my own energy. I can make a better choice. I can find something that sparks joy and light in myself. I can do a visualization. I can find uplifting quotes to look at. I like to look at quotes all the time for inspiration. I can I can look at pictures, you know, I love looking at gardens and flowers and pretty things, right? To help kind of use those as a tool to shift my energy back. But it's ultimately up to me to have that self-discipline and self-love for myself to allow that or put a stop to that ruminating and that negativity and refocus on creating. And that you create light, you create fun, you create peace, you create rest, you create art, you create music, you create whatever you want, beautiful meals, right? You influence the energy, starting with yourself.
Absolutely. I think the thing I love most about what you talked about is going to your inner self, you know, to help change the outer, right? So internal motivation versus external motivation is always longer lasting. And so, yeah, I think when you're trying to make a shift from negative energy to positive energy, you do got to look within yourself, you know, no matter what situation you're in, even if you're in the roughest of situations, you know. And when you do make a change and you really desire a change, it does have to start within. I like how you went there. And so when you're thinking, you know, okay, what kind of power can help me with this? Like there is thought stopping and thought replacing, you know, where it's almost like if you had a really bad song on the radio, like, and it just, then all of a sudden, you know, throughout the day, that song just keeps like hammering away in your head. And it's just, you almost start singing the lyrics to it over and over again because you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get this bad song out of my head. And sometimes you have to get your very best song, like the song you truly love, and you got to put that song on to kind of wash that other song out of your head, you know. That's kind of how thought stopping and thought replacing works. Is we've got to take, you know, our trouble thoughts or our bad thoughts that are going through our head, and we need to take a moment. If we truly want to be rid of the negative energy behind those thoughts, we got to take a minute and think of some of the happiest memories of our life, some of the things that brought us the most joy. It could be like, you know, your wedding day. It could be when you first heard your kid cry when they were born. It could be the most powerful thought that you can think of to help shift you out of that negative rut that you're in with your thinking, and kind of springboard you or get your thinking going in a new direction and in a new energy. And the beautiful thing about replacing thoughts is you'll get better at it as you practice it. And that's actually a therapeutic tool. It's a cognitive tool that we teach in one of our trauma therapy classes that we do. I also have that in the book too, of you know, where you take kind of the bad song that's shifting in your head, it's floating in your head, and you learn how to replace it with a good song. But that's how we do it, is we take, you know, those negative thoughts and replace them with something very positive, and it needs to be a thought that's pretty powerful that helps you really shift, you know. And I've had to use this tool multiple times in my life, just to kind of shift out of things. But it's worth the effort to use tools like this. But I was also going to kind of allude a little bit to a higher power, because when I think of where some of my most positive energetic source comes from, it is from my higher power. I do have a firm belief that there's something greater than us out there that is in our corner, that wants us to become our best selves, that wants us to remember who we truly are on the inside, and that energy source is built in us, right? That's the beautiful thing, is that we just got to bring it back to our remembrance of who we really are, and that energy then permeates, because if you kind of know who you are, you know about your higher power and the energy that exists there, it will help you springboard you to know who you are, and you'll be able to feel the energy that comes from that. And it's beautiful energy, and it's connecting. It's like, something I love too about, like, going on hikes and stuff with Kara. Like, for example, she'll take time and just admire some flowers for a minute, while we're on the hike. Or if we happen to see like a waterfall or something, we take time and just kind of enjoy the beauty of the energy that's coming from the natural source there, And so those are some things too I wanted to kind of allude to, is that, I believe our higher power is in everything, in us, in the water, in the trees, in the flowers, in the grass, the dirt, the air that we breathe, and so it's so connecting. I'd say one of the best places I feel positive energy is just right out at the ocean, when you're feeling the vibes of the ocean, and so that's just something to, like, if you haven't been out somewhere in a while, if you haven't been on vacation for a bit, or you haven't allowed yourself to maybe just take a minute to yourself throughout the day to connect, and bring this positive energy to yourself. That's a challenge. I'd say a challenge that I would issue to all of you is, make sure you're taking some time to connect to yourself, connect to your higher power, connect to all the surroundings around you, and then just notice the positive energy that comes from those sources. It's very beautiful feeling when that takes place. So,
it rained in my head for a month, but now look at all the flowers. I love that.
Yeah.
So there's a time for grieving, there's a time for processing, there's a time for being angry, right? Let all those trains, go by and feel the feelings and let them go. And then it's up to you to be your own energy source and create light for yourself again. And the more you create light for yourself, without even knowing it, you're creating that light for others, and that light is so contagious, right? Gossiping and negativity is very contagious, same as laughter and joy, right? When one person starts laughing and having a good time, people are just, attracted to that, right? Light creates more light. The most magnetic thing on earth is loving your own energy. Your perception of yourself affects your frequency. So remember to start loving yourself. Be confident in your talents and the way you express them. Remember the last episode, if you haven't listened to it yet, go ahead and listen to it. But we talked about how the opposite of depression is expression, right? Be confident in your talents and the way you express them. Love the reflection you see in the mirror. May your energy raise the whole frequency of the planet. That really is what you're capable of. We get stuck in that drama triangle, we're the victim, we're being persecuted, or then we tend to persecute others sometimes. What's the third one? Rescuing. We see other people persecuting, so then we have to rescue, right? Victim, persecutor, rescuer. And we get stuck there over and over and over, Sometimes it's a dynamic with other people. Sometimes it's a dynamic within our own heads, right? And what is the antidote to that? Coach yourself out of it. Be a creator and challenge yourself to do better, set healthy habits, reset, refocus, shine your light, express yourself.
As I got thinking about something my son said the other day. You know, he's my 17-year-old, and he was having a moment of wisdom, I would say. And he says, Dad, you know, something that's really cool is he was observing our dog, Russ. He's a really cool animal. And anyway, you know, he's like, you know, Russ only needs, you know, food, water, and he's just always happy.
And his belly rubbed.
Yeah, and his belly rubbed, and he's always happy, and you know, he's always happy to see us. I mean, that's why emotional support pets are such a big deal, is they have energy that is endless positive energy, and that is exactly what Russ is to Jack. So Jack got Russ when he was about 6 years old, and now he's 17, and it's been so cool to see their relationship, and how close Jack really is to Russ, and how much you know, Russ is to, you know, he is just straight positive energy. I mean, to everybody in the home, he just loves to play ball. Like, he loves to, you know, have his belly rubbed.
Forever.
Yeah. He's just
lay at your
straight
feet
up
and just present his belly. That's
positive
how he
energy. So I know all of you out there have had a really rad animal at some point in your life, whether you have them now or you've had them in the past. But I mean, there's some really positive energy that can come from animals of all sorts. Cats, dogs, horses, doesn't matter.
Yeah, we walk around the pond by our house every day, and we see the ducks and the birds, and was it yesterday or the day before?
Yeah,
that beautiful blue crane.
Yeah.
Beautiful
huge
wingspan.
We got it on video. It was so cool.
Gorgeous.
But yeah, and that's the thing is, like, it does bring such a light, you know, to be around these creatures and see that, you know, their energy as well. And we can learn a lot from our animals and the lessons they've taught us in our life. And I would say, as far as energy goes, I mean, Russ does provide not only positive energy for Jack, but I mean, all of us. You know,
it's been so fun having Rusty in our home.
First person, or first, I'd say, entity to greet you when you walk through the door. He just can't wait to jump on you, you know, and see.
Big smile. He's got eyebrows that are like 3 inches long. They are like legit eyebrows. We call him Professor Rusty.
Yeah.
He's perking up. He said, "Are you talking about me?" Yes, we are.
But I mean, I know.
So cute.
You know, you hear something like this on a podcast, and like, what are they doing talking about their
ears.
dog? But honestly, I'm telling you, like, animals do it, man. They know they actually have more wisdom in them than we can give them credit for.
And they have the unconditional love.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is. It's unconditional love.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a challenge that I think I have for all of you out there is to be a seeker of positive energy.
Yeah.
Seek it out, you know, and if there's negative energy starting to kind of boil in your own mind, or negative energy starting to boil around you, you do have choice. You can move yourself away from it. You can use a mental health tool, a cognitive tool, you know, to shift your thinking and to shift your energy. You do not have to sit and reside in negative energy. You do have a choice. I love what Kara said, is create it. You know, part of us making changes is to become the creator that we're built to be, right? And so, yeah, let's shift out of it. Let's enjoy our life. Let's find things that bring us that positive energy so we can really thoroughly experience joy, you know? And that's something that's been so fun. Just, you know, Mary and Kara, she's my best friend, she's my partner, she's my lover, she's everything, right? It's so beautiful that together we experience this energy. And I'm truly grateful for the energy that I experience with her, but I'm also aware, and I'm looking for that energy, and so as I was out looking for it, I found her, right? And she found me, right? So that's the beautiful thing about it.
We were seeking, just like Ty said, become a seeker of the energy you want to feel.
Yes.
When you seek, you find.
Right.
And you stop adapting to the energy around you, and you start influencing it.
Yes. And if it's
your world manifests around you and in front of you when you match that energetic frequency. That's what manifestation is.
Right. And it's worth every effort to make a change. If you are stuck in something that you know you need to change, you'll feel it. You'll feel it in your gut. You'll feel it in your body. And you'll know when you need to make a change. And your energy will tell you.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll talk to you.
You know that, I don't know if you guys have heard people say that you'll tend to repeat the same lessons over and over again, or same karmic cycles over and over again, right? Until you learn the lesson, and then you can move on, right? I had this thought the other day. I'm like, could have been a magical unicorn and learned it the first time. But nope, gotta be a stubborn ass and experience it 1 billion times.
Exactly.
Right?
Trust me, man.
How many times have we been a donkey when we should be a unicorn, right?
Yeah.
We all have that potential. We don't need to keep living in these toxic cycles and creating toxic cycles, right?
Well,
it's time for your unicorn era.
I learned
Get out of that. Create sparkles of light and fun and whatever you want your life to be. It's up to you.
Learned a really cool concept from a restaurant owner in California. My dad knew this guy. They became really good friends when we lived there. And the owner would always have us come in and, make my mom up. My mom loved seafood, so she'd always get this rad lobster, and of course my dad he's like the king crab guy, so he loved the king crab. But anyway, anytime we went to his restaurant, he'd always tell us like some kind of words of wisdom, or some kind of like something that has to do with sea creatures and what they teach us, right? So he had this really cool concept. He brought out this bucket of lobsters, and they were fresh like lobsters, like
alive.
Climbing alive. Yeah, there's this big old bucket of them, right? And he says, I want you to notice something. He says, watch when one of them try to climb out of the bucket, what happens? And he says, that's why I don't ever have to put a lid on these things, because they'll just keep dragging themselves back into the bucket.
The others drag it down. If one tries to crawl out, the others grab hold and drag it back down.
And it was so interesting, because there would be these brave little lobsters that would like start climbing up the side of the wall, and all of a sudden another lobster would come grab that sucker and pull him down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like a legit concept, And so what I would say is, one, don't get caught in a bucket of lobsters, right?
That's right.
like, and so if you feel
hard
like
to get out of that situation,
if you're caught in a bucket of lobsters, man, let's have you try to get the heck out of there. But that's the crazy thing is like, nature teaches us lessons. That was one that kind of stuck in my head. So, and that's cool. I was learning that kind of right before my teenage years. So it kind of helped me like avoid gnarly things like, getting stuck with substance use at a young age and getting caught in that trap, or, anything like breaking the law, or, even a lot of premarital sex or anything like that. Like that was a lot of stuff that I think influences teenagers, is those things, and so, but yeah, I was so grateful to learn that lesson at that time of my life, that I was like, oh man, that's actually kind of true. So I just noticed that with the people that I'm surrounded by, and I was able to surround myself with some really awesome friends, especially at that time. And then I also had some really amazing friends here once I moved back. I moved back from California to Utah, and that was another cool thing is I had to find new acquaintances and friends out here, and that was an adjustment from California to Utah, but it definitely, you do find the right ones if you stay aligned with the energy that you want to have, and you set yourself goals, energy goals, like what do I want for my life, what people do I want to surround myself with, and then don't sell yourself short, but just keep that as a goal, and you'll get to where you find the right energy people that love you, care for you, that have your best interest at heart, and you have their best interest at heart. And so then you become true friends,
Yeah.
and it's just an amazing feeling when you have one, so I don't require a lot of multiple friends and acquaintances. I require maybe a few really close friends, and I much value that than I do having everybody know me and whatnot, so, but the energy that I experience with the friends I have, man, I'm grateful for those souls in my life.
100%.
So
I love it. Anything else you want to add, babe?
no, that's it. Sorry, I'm a long-winded storyteller, but sometimes, those lessons are things we need to learn, and I'm just grateful, honestly, for this platform to be able to share, connect with people, let you know kind of some of the things I've learned in my life. I hope to hear from, you guys as well, as far as this show. If you like us, please, forward us on, let people know about us. We definitely love doing this. We love to do this podcast together, and we hope it's helpful for anybody that's listening. That's all we really care to do, is be helpful.
Let us know what else you want us to talk about. We love to talk about trauma recovery and PTSD, building relationships. Ask your questions and we'll start answering. I'm going to play a song at the end of this episode. I like to put our songs on the end because Ty's a brilliant musician. It's so fun to promote his music. And he wrote a song called Light Me Up. It's such a fun song. And I was thinking about which song would work for energy, and it's Light Me Up.
Yeah, but the inspiration, the funny thing is, when you think of inspiration for songs, honestly, it's so funny. I mean, if anybody listened to our songs, they would see over half or more of the songs I've written are of Kara, and I just can't stop writing about her, that's what
So
inspires
sweet,
me.
baby.
And I don't think I really want to, spend time writing something just to write it. It has to be something that inspires me, or I don't necessarily like to write, and so it's very cool. I don't go not even one day where she doesn't do something I'm just like, man, that was inspiring, that was cool, and I don't think she even, I feel bad because I probably tell her way too often.
You can never tell anyone enough. Especially when they've been through trauma and they felt unworthy for most of their lives. You need to hear it a lot.
Yeah,
so thank you, my love.
Definitely don't understand that. But I'm grateful for all the losers that didn't see her, because it gave me time to find her, right? So that's the good thing. But that's the cool thing is I'm grateful that she even will listen to the music, or she'll even give me feedback on it, or tell me, what she likes or what she thinks is cool. And that's what's very fun is we kind of do that for each other, and that's the positive energy that we give. Her stories too, same thing. I love listening. I love when she's got a very soothing voice anyway, so it's just cool to hear her stories, and she'll read them to me, if she's written a chapter, or And sometimes she won't let me read, or she won't say anything. She's like, no, it's not done yet. It's not done yet. And
it's
so,
like a halfway done painting. You can't see it yet. It's not done.
Right. But I always want to hear it as soon as she's going, and she's just brilliant. And so,
You're so sweet, baby.
But that's what's fun is, we both bring each other such positive energy. And I'm grateful for that in my life. It's been a amazing journey, to this point. And that's what I hope all of you know, that you're right there. You can experience that as well, and it can be such a beautiful thing for you. But sometimes we have to decide for ourselves, when am I gonna chase the energy? When am I gonna seek it, the energy that I want? And then be brave enough to make the changes in my life that need to happen to obtain that energy. And it does take you taking a step back, a big awareness step, and then getting brave, saying, you know what? I gotta shift this. I don't like the way this is making me feel. I'm ready to make a change. And when you'll know, when you hit that bottom of your sadness and you're finally just ready to make that change. And sometimes it's the smallest thing that like finally the straw that breaks, right? And you're finally like, holy crap, that's making my decision easy now. So you just got to pay attention, keep your awareness at as high as you can. And because awareness, I would say, self-awareness is probably one of the most valuable skills that you can practice. That's why journaling is so helpful. That's why it's good to be also doing these things where you're listening to podcasts, you're stretching your mind, you're learning new concepts, you're planting new seeds in your mind. That's the beautiful thing about learning, is that it helps get you on a new path, helps motivate you to try something new. And man, am I grateful that I did. And I now feel like I am on a course of a journey now, a path that's so bright, so beautiful. And it would not have happened if I didn't say, I am not putting up with this energy any longer. And I made a change.
Amen to that.
And so, and you gotta have balls. You gotta decide, what, it's time to make this change. I ain't gonna let nothing stand in my way.
Even being alone, right? It's
Yes.
okay to be alone for a little while, until you can create the world and the energy and the conglomerate of people in your life that you choose to have relationships with, right? It's okay to be alone until you have the strength and discipline within yourself to know how to create that energetic experience that you want to see every day.
Absolutely.
And feel every day.
It's worth it.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to play Light Me Up by Tyson Barlow.
Well, thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Hey girl, can I tell you a secret? You are the one, I mean it. Cannot contain this feeling, heart pounding right through the ceiling. You always light me up, and then you cool me down. You always light me up, love me till I can't be found. Away your sweetest kiss, through every day you're the one I miss. You sexy beast, I can't resist to get a taste of your perfect lips. Oh girl, you light me up, and then you cool me crazy. Love me till my eyes are glazy. Those ocean eyes persuade me to make you my forever baby. You always light me up, then cool me down. You always light me up, love me till I can't be found. You light me up.